Gentlemen, welcome to Fight Club. The first rule of Fight Club is you do not talk about Fight Club. The second rule of Fight Club is you do not talk about Fight Club.
Okay, so I'm breaking the first two rules here, but I wanted to point out that Fight Club was based on a book. It's a case where the movie so overshadows the book that it's not very popular. Part of this, I think, is that the book isn't that stellar. It follows the same basic plot of the film with a few additional scenes here and there. There's still a lonesome guy who goes around to cancer support groups. There's a crazy lady played by Helena Bonham Carter, and he eventually meets a very pretty boy. They get together and raise hell, forming an underground fighting circuit that evolves into a terroristic, cult-like mentality. And remember, this was before 9/11. No, we don't learn the main character's name, there's no insightful backstory on the side people, and hell, even Tyler Durden is in it, much less. He has a smaller role in the novel, only really appearing here and there, though his presence is felt throughout. Really, the film expanded on his character, in no small part because he was played by Brad Pitt, the most marketable actor in the film. How about that? Marketing and big business paid off, ironic considering the film's anti-authority message. And boy, is it anti-authority. It really delves down into the cult-like mentality, showing how much hell they're raising across town. They're striking back at the big establishment corporations that they blame for creating them. The main theme of the novel is about losing masculinity in modern society, how we've become complacent to the point where people don't want to get into fights, only hypocritically watch it on TV. All of the men are drawn into Fight Club because they're desperately seeking a release for the testosterone coursing through their bodies. And that Meatloaf would do anything for love. But I won't do that. I and many other young men feel this way, though being from the American South, I can say that the film's thesis is flawed and that some men have no problem getting into fights. But I think that brings a thematic point, that there is adventure and excitement waiting out there for these lonely, isolated men, but they've been conditioned not to go looking for it. As the narrator puts it, we're a generation of men raised by women. I wonder if another woman is the answer we need. Now, I'm not terribly anti-feminist, but it does seem that some feminists don't want some kind of idealistic equality between men and women, but they want to dominate men totally and completely. It's just another power play. And of course this mentality crept its way into the 1990s culture, a time more politically correct than any other in this country's history. Goddamn hippies! Of course, the ironic thing about all this is that the author is super gay. Now, I don't have anything against the gays. I don't think it's less masculine if you prefer men to women. Okay, it kind of is, but still. But the reigning stereotype is that gays are girly men and they were partly responsible for the loss of masculinity. Granted, he doesn't really make a case for gay rights in this.
Our fathers were models for God. If our fathers bailed, what does that tell you about God?
Yeah, you got daddy issues. So obviously, the film came out in '99 and was a huge flop. Okay, not a huge flop, but it didn't make any real noise. I think one reason for this was because it came out the same year as The Matrix, a film with a similar theme and a better plot. It was just a better movie. Deal with it. The film's director, David Fincher, had previously had a flop with Alien 3, though it wasn't really his fault. He went on to bigger and better things and is now respected in many Hollywood circles. Brad Pitt was already a star, as was Helena Bonham Carter, but Edward Norton was really trying to spring off from this movie. I wouldn't describe him as a major Hollywood star, just another character actor who's always vying for bigger roles. But I think he's eked out a pretty good living for himself. He seems happy. Lastly, I wanted to mention one of the stranger things in the film. At one point, the narrator talks about how Tyler splices scenes of dirty movies into children's cartoons using the old 8mm frame-by-frame film. Can't do that shit anymore, can you? Anyway, you can see little flashes of various things throughout the film, and if you slow it down, you can make out what they are. You'd think this wouldn't be in the book, right? It's something they just compiled for the film and then used it to their advantage. Well, it is, and they talk about the first nude scene in history and all that crap. I was kind of hoping they would have some kind of mysterious fourth wall break in the book, but they don't. I can't help but think they created 4 walls for the characters and left them trapped in them. But then again, maybe we shouldn't be talking about this kind of thing.
If you look for it, you can see these little dots come into the upper right-hand corner of the screen.
In the industry, we call them cigarette burns.
That's the cue. Nobody knows that they saw it, but they did.
A nice big cock.
Pray for silence, and some days I pray for soul. Some days I just pray to the God of sex and drugs.